Closed captioning for the Casey Malone Show is sponsored by Hunter Stevens Land Title Agency. Integrity, service, and commitment you can trust.
Oh yeah, Casey Malone is serving up local. It's time for the stories of our region, the tastes, the sights, the sounds, and the people in and around the valley. Get ready for some local flavor on the Casey Malone Show.
Today, the beauty of Mill Creek Park is captured by Michael Johnson. And I prepare salt and vinegar pickled potato salad. It is so delicious. But first, Pastimes Arcade in Girard. It is unbelievable. Well, the Casey Malone Show has been waiting quite a while to join Mr. Rob Burke at his Pastime Arcades. And I've got to tell you, this is more stupendous than I imagined. This has to be the largest.
Welcome to paradise.
Welcome to paradise. Now, how many pinballs are we talking?
Well, between pinballs and videos, we have about 600 games here.
But first, a little backstory. About 20 years ago, I was at a party at Rob and Bridget's home, and the basement was loaded with 60 to 80 pinball machines, all in working order. And I'm thinking, this guy is nuts. Look at all these machines. And when Bridget reminded me, I said, of course it's Rob Burke. What started the passion? Like, what was your first machine? When did this begin?
When I was a young guy, 5 years old, we had a pinball machine in our basement. My dad bought it, I guess, for me for entertainment.
Right.
Little did I know what it was or how to even play it. And then I went to college. That further fueled it, and I saw pinball machines everywhere. And then I started having a passion to the point that I really enjoyed them, to the point where I actually did a pinball show in Chicago honoring my heroes who were the pinball designers and the artists. And that took place back in 1985. And the show was such a success that people said, hey, when's the next show? I said, there is no next show. I want to do it one time. And this year will be show number 39. We've been doing it 39 years. Yeah.
I saw that you won a Guinness record for the most continuous pinball shows.
Yeah.
So now this entire aisle are all from Spain
and Italy.
I didn't know there was such a market for that.
So there was a time when the games from the U.S. were not permitted to be exported to that part of the world, and because of some sort of laws they had. So they started their own industry of pinball for several years, and these are all games made in Spain and in Italy for their unique markets, and they were not meant for export to the U.S. Some did export to the U.S., but the majorities ended up in Europe. So you're seeing games that you wouldn't see anywhere else. This is a very unique selection.
How do you power?
Well, I have a father-in-law that is an electrical engineer, and we call him Paps. And because of Paps, he made this work. But we have rows and rows of electrical conduit going down here to feed the electricity to keep all these games running. And this is a lot of games.
It is a lot of games. And as I was driving here this morning, I was thinking, how the heck does he have that many outlets and that much power? Because that's a heck of a fuse box.
And we've had no circuit breakers have gone off yet. So
the first thing I learned that I needed to do was be able to read a schematic. So what's pretty crazy about these is that every game you can still get a schematic. So it's just a piece of paper.
And this is in every machine?
Yeah.
It's so cool. I feel like it's treasure hunt.
Yeah. So it's essentially.
God, and you know how to read this?
Yeah, it's essentially a flow chart of electricity. This is called analog. So it's either on, off, yes or no. It's similar to some basic coding where you have to find in the code where things break down and where it's stopping.
And then where you allow it to move on or where it blocks it.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
See, I learned something in that robotics class when we were at the Sharon schools.
But without these, it's extremely difficult because these can help you pinpoint, down to a very switch that you can locate in the game. There's definitely a learning curve, but rather easily once you're able to understand the basic logic of this.
Exactly. And then do you have a couple of these machines and that's how you...
Yeah, I have about...
How many do you have?
I think I'm up to 18. No, not quite with Rob. I think I have about 18 at this point, yeah.
And are they all this style?
Yeah, all of them are electromechanical that I have, with the exception I have a digital skee ball machine. and then I have an arcade game, a video game. But as far as my pinballs go and some other games, electromechanical.
It's very precious.
Yeah.
Do you ever get machines that don't have the schematics?
A lot, quite a bit.
And then, is there an archive where you could find them?
Sure, yeah. There's actually a place up in New York called Pinball Resource that you can buy the schematics and paperwork for a lot of the games. So this company here is called Gottlieb, and actually the paperwork is still under license. So you have to get it from a gentleman up in New York who has the rights to paperwork. But the other big companies of the era, Williams and Bally and Chicago Coin, you can actually download those right offline.
So your father is also shares your passion.
That's how I accidentally got into the hobby.
Okay, all right.
I bought this game. I knew he loved growing up in the arcades when he was a kid.
Okay.
And one morning we went out to breakfast and I asked him what his favorite game was. He said North Star, and I knew nothing about pinball at all, nothing. Well, I got online and started looking it up because about 3 weeks later was his birthday. And I always thought, wouldn't it be really cool to get Dad a pinball machine?
Really?
And there was a gentleman in Clary named Knox who he had this online, and I sent him a message and said, it's my dad's favorite game, would you be willing to sell it? And so I bought it. And I remember when
You're getting all choked up thinking about it because your dad had to, I mean.
It was such an incredible feeling.
Oh, you're giving me, that is beautiful.
So he, I got it working fully and took it down in its basement. And I repainted the cabinet, and he came downstairs. My brother was in on the plan, so my brother took him out to dinner, and then he said we're gonna go play pool. And he came down the stairs and he said, "Where in the world did you find that?"
Oh my gosh.
And so I said, "How long has it been since you've seen this game?" And he said, "It's been 50 years." And he said, "Does it play?" Like he didn't even care. It's in his basement.
So Nick wears many hats. You do the marketing, you do some of the repair work, but these machines are not part of this because these are for sale.
These ones are for sale. Yeah, we actually have these games on the floor. But if you actually want, we get a lot of people that come in and they ask if the games are for sale. Right.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of people that just come in and expect this to be a showroom for sale. No, the showroom's this
you've
small
got
part.
some big games here.
Absolutely.
I mean, look at this one. You've got the 20-year reunion to Ms. Pac-Man.
Yep.
This is cool. And I love you have the Wurlitzer.
It is a Wurlitzer. It's an updated. It's a CD version.
Right.
You know, we do have a couple 45 versions in the back. So that's the beautiful thing. We're 5 minutes off of Highway 80, and there are places like this all over the country. You know, in Las Vegas and in Nashville and
I can't imagine
Portland.
they're this large though.
But and that's the thing. Those are all in destination cities already. You're going to go to the Grand Ole Opry when you're in Nashville. You're going to go to the Strip when you're in Vegas. But this is the destination here.
But listen, guys, when you come here, you pay one price and you play all day.
I mean, you're not going to throw them out. It's not like 1 hour and you're done.
So you can put 12 hours here. You know, if you have to, sleep under the pinball machine, take a little break.
But no, this is really, I really can't thank you enough. This is.
I thank you.
This is really a great addition.
And I hope your audience enjoys it because you can't put it into words. There's just so much stuff here.
To
believe it.
You really do.
The Casey Malone Show will be right back with more local flavor.
Make your voice heard.
Our elections are safe, secure, and transparent.
Exercise your right to vote. Vote early, absentee, or in person on Election Day.
Election Day is March 19th.
We are getting close. Scaba Camp is almost here. A year-round destination for adults with disabilities and their families to get away, close to home. Accessible to all, with no barriers. Donate now to Gaba Camp. Help others to enjoy this unique recreational destination. For adults with disabilities and their families to enjoy an accessible camping experience. Donate to Gaba Camp. Giving is living.
Kamara Jewelers is the place to buy an engagement ring because we want a relationship with you that lasts a lifetime. Your commitment with her is the same commitment we have to you.
We want to sit down with you and teach you about diamonds so you're educated on what you're buying. We have the largest selection we ever have, which is the largest in the area and at the best value. And if it's not something in our case, we could always custom make it. We can make any dream come true.
Get real, get Kamara.
Rule
Rulli Brothers has a great choice of quality cheeses. We use our relationship with Old World Houses to specially select the product and then have it custom cut and packaged by our own local artisans. At Rulli Brothers Market, our family is in the store.
The 46th Annual Mahoning Valley St. Patrick's Day Parade is Sunday, March 10th. Enter your group, organization, or marching band at mvstpatrickparade.com.
You better come on in my kitchen.
I'm about to make one of the most interesting potato salads ever. I am a really big fan of salt and vinegar potato chips. And lately, everything has pickles in it. And they now have like pickle flavored potato chips, which are excellent. And I have put them both together in a potato salad called salt and vinegar pickled potato salad. And it's very few ingredients. Absolutely everything is in your pantry, except maybe the fresh dill. But that really adds a more pickly flavor to it. And it's really easy, and you don't have to worry about the mayonnaise or any of that stuff. So I really think you're gonna like this dish. So let's get started and we'll go over the ingredients. For this recipe, you'll need 3 pounds of yellow or Yukon Gold potatoes, scrubbed and not peeled. 1 red onion sliced thin, then cut into half moons, 6 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 2½ teaspoons of kosher salt, 1/2 teaspoon of sugar, 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, and 1/2 cup of chopped dill pickles, and 1/4 cup of chopped dill fronds. First thing we're gonna do is pickle the red onion. It really adds a nice different flavor to this potato dish. So what I'm gonna do is 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, and then 1/2 teaspoon of sugar. Not a lot, just enough to, make an impact. And then 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And we're gonna mix this together and let it sit for about half hour, 45 minutes. But it really does soften up nicely, and it mellows the real sharpness of the red onion, and it really adds a nice flavor dimension to this potato salad. So we're just going to mix these together and let that marinate, and we'll get moving with the rest of this dish. So next, I'm going to boil these potatoes. I'm gonna put them in a pot, cover them about 1 inch over, and then add salted water. And we are going to boil these, once it comes to a boil, about 15 minutes or so. We want them to be fork or knife tender, but not too tender, because then they'll get a little mushy. And the reason I'm going to boil them whole is because it won't be as watery. That will keep the firmness in the potato. So I'll put those on the stove now. All right, so the potatoes are now cool enough to handle. They boiled for about 15, 16 minutes. You don't want to be too hard, but you don't want them to be too soft. These are just right. So now all I'm going to do is cut them into bite-sized pieces. And there's not a lot of water in them because I kept the skin on. And you see they're pretty firm and stuck together because a lot of water did not get in them. Now, a lot of people peel their potatoes, but there's a lot of nutrition and vitamins in the potato skin, or as my daddy used to call them, he would call them jackets. And he was like, always eat the jackets on your praties. So I eat them a lot with the skin on. So I will finish cutting these up, and I will assemble this, and we are going to have some delicious potato salad. All right, so our potatoes are still warm, and they're cut into nice, bite-sized chunks, about 1 inch or so. And now we're gonna dress it while it's still warm, because then it really sucks in all the flavor. So we have the olive oil, and we have the salt, and then the vinegar. So I'm just gonna whip these together, get this nice and emulsified. And then we are just gonna pour this over these potatoes, and it'll suck it right up. I mean, it really will suck up this juice. And we'll just, turn this to let it all mix together. And you don't wanna break up the potatoes. That's why I'm using a larger wooden spoon. So now that looks good, doesn't it? I mean, right now, I could eat this. Love potatoes, love vinegar. You know, when I have French fries, I always use vinegar. I don't really use ketchup. But now, we are going to put, see how nicely the onions, they really did mellow. And there's a little bit of juice left in there. So we are just gonna throw all the onions in and get those distributed throughout. I'm gonna tell you, these onions really are good. Love onions. And these pickles, are these adorable? I use the little baby gherkins and I just sliced them, and they're so cute. And they're dill. Now, I don't really care for the sweet or bread and butter pickles, but if that is the pickle you prefer, use that. If that's the pickle you prefer, I'm gonna say that 3 times fast. And then last but not least, these wonderful dill fronds. So, let's mix this up. Hey, he escaped. And then we'll get this ready to serve. Because you could serve this warm, you can serve this at room temperature, but I'll tell you, the next day, it's delicious too if you serve it cold. So after you mix it all together, adjust the seasonings. If you think it needs a little more vinegar, fix that, or salt. But I think if it needs more salt or pepper, because I didn't put any pepper in it, you can always pass that at the table. And I did a little taste, and I've got to tell you, this is an excellent batch. I mean, it's really good. Make sure you grab a little of the onion, a little of the pickle. A lot of the dough. It is so savory, and it's so good, and there's no mayo. So it can sit out, and it's perfect for, you know, tailgates, football season, or, you know, just dinner any night of the week. And I think a really nice pairing with this is a real dry Sauvignon Blanc. This one is so reasonably priced. Excelsior, it's from South Africa. And I think this will go really well with my little pickly salad here. Delicious. So, for this recipe, it is my salt and vinegar pickled potato salad. Say that 5 times fast. Just go to my website, CaseyMaloneShow.com. Look for this recipe. You are going to love it. Promise. Cheers.
We never miss the Casey Malone Show. Stay tuned for more local flavor.
Locally sourced is good, whether it's ingredients or a bank. And that's why my bank is Farmers National Bank. Since 1887, Farmers has remained rock solid through every economic condition. Having a bank with a history of safety, soundness, and conservative management is a must. It all boils down to this. You need a bank that will help you reach your goals. I do too, and Farmers is mine. Farmers National Bank, rock solid.
This year's primary is March 19th. Don't forget to vote.
Early in-person and absentee voting begin on February 21st.
Our elections are safe, secure, and transparent.
Every vote counts.
Election day is March 19th.
Locally owned, Hurricane Health and Wellness will help you weather the storm of your weight loss struggles. Safe and discreet, our experienced telemed team will prescribe the proper weight loss medication. Powerful weight loss solutions. Hurricane Health and Wellness.
I'm Elizabeth Bernard. For more than 30 years, I've provided our Valley with sound legal advice. My associate Jennifer Rigetti and I will be your legal representatives if you're involved in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident. Don't try to handle it yourself. We'll navigate the red tape of dealing with doctors, medical insurance, and all the obstacles that you'll face. Remember, there are no upfront fees on personal injury cases, and hiring a lawyer does not mean you have to go to court.
Call attorney Elizabeth Bernard, local legal experience for more than 30 years.
Rulli Brothers is way ahead of the competition. Check out Rulli Spice World, where you can buy bulk herbs and spices, plus candies, nuts, and fillings for pennies on the dollar. At Rulli Brothers Market, our family is in the store.
We are here with Michael Johnson at the wetlands here at Newport Lake and Mill Creek Park. And I met Michael online, on the Nextdoor app. And that thing is just so interesting. It has all the different neighborhoods in our area. And Michael, you post all these gorgeous pictures of nature. And Mill Creek Park is your hang, huh?
It is. It's a fortress of solitude, so to speak. It's serene, it's quiet. You interact with many people here from time to time, but mostly you get by yourself. And you said that it really ramped up during COVID. It did, because what happens is most people are told to stay indoors because you didn't go outside and interact with people and catch anything. But here at the park, it was like you could be by yourself. You could be with people, but be at a distance, of course, talk between the cars, and you still had an outdoor feeling. You still got some fresh air. Yeah. And it's relaxing. And what I think is really interesting about Michael is you can tell from his accent, he is not a native Youngstonian. So you are originally born and raised in New York City. Yes, in the Bronx. And after your retirement, you decided to come to the garden capital of the world, Youngstown, Ohio. Well, my sister bought a house here in 2014. How did that happen? Why Youngstown of all the places? Well, I had another sister lived here prior to this because she worked for GM. So my older sister followed her down here, and I followed her. Well, I'm sure the retirement might be a little cheaper here in our you get more, as they say, more bang for the buck. Yeah. Because New York is too expensive to live for anybody. What did you do in New York? I was a warehouse manager. And then? Then I got disabled, and it was more affordable to live someplace else. Yes, yes. And were you keen on photography when you lived in the city? I was an architect student years ago, and I just picked up the camera. I had a little Instamatic camera years ago, and I love architecture. I love scenery. But you seem to really get a lot of the bald eagles, which I lived here my whole life. I don't think I've ever seen a bald eagle in person. The first time I caught one, I thought I was seeing things. This can't be real. Bald eagle in Mill Creek Park. Right. And of course it was. Then I started realizing their pattern, and they come year round. Whether it's hot or warm or cold, they're year round. And usually the area over there we talked about is where they mostly hang at. There's a nest somewhere here in the park, but I can't find it yet. I know. How big must that nest be? It's massive, because there was the one that we know about near the proving grounds over, I forget what part of town that is. That's massive, so it can't be missed. The eagles that fly through here fly in the evening. They fly either direction towards, I think it was at 64 or whatever it is. Yeah, 62. Or 62, or either they fly over or they fly over a glacier. And there has to be a nest, I think it's the nest over there by where the highway is. Yes. And the very wooded area, it's very hard to access by walking or driving, so you really have to take a trek to go through there. A few friends of mine thought about doing that one day, trying to look for it. Well, you let me know, because I think that would be, it's hard to believe. Now, the other day I noticed, I'm kind of a fan, and I always look for your posts when I go on to Nextdoor, and you had thought it was a hawk, but it was a golden eagle. Yes, I had never seen one before in the wild, and I was told by one of my people who on my site that it's a golden eagle, and I was fortunate to catch him. What other things have you really caught, other than the birds? Well, nature itself. I was here a few days ago when the fog was hitting. It was very foggy. Oh, I love those. And I caught some great pictures over here by the wetlands area over here on the other side. I caught some early morning pictures over by Lake Glacier in the morning. It's like a blue setting. It's all, people actually, did I doctor the film? No, it's just blue. It looks like a haunted movie. Especially the fog ones. It was like so eerie when the Vincent Price movie kind of setting. Yes, yes. And it was perfect because it's just quiet. It's still. And you can hear a pin drop, literally. You hear the trees rustling in the wind, but other than that, that's it.
It's all with this Nikon.
It's all with this, yeah, all this.
I mean, that is such a little compact. And then, do you print these out? And
well, no, I did. What happens when I take pictures that they connect to the phone, so they go right from the camera to the phone. I have a database, but I have yet to print anything out.
What do you really like about Youngstown? I mean, obviously you've been here, and that's going to be almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years, yeah.
And, you know,
well,
you're
it's not New York. In the biggest sense of word, it's not New York. I was born and raised in New York. And after a while, you get tired of the hustle, the bustle. It's a whole different mindset. You know, Ohio is a little bit much slower than New York, and it's a different kind of vibe.
What do you think about the people here in our area?
They're friendly, they're very welcoming.
Yeah.
And it's not about the color of the skin or how you look. It's just they feel something off you, and you feel something off of them, and you connect, especially in the park. But the Mill Creek thing, it's a whole different set of values.
So you're not going anywhere?
No.
Have you been back to visit since you
I've been back to
moved?
visit. Yeah, I've been back to move. My sister and I used to take care of our dad. He passed in 2019, so now we're here permanently. But to find a place like this, when I was there, to find a place like this is hard pressed because there are parks all over New York City. But to find one that's empty, as quiet as this, you're not going to find that. This is midday, and the park is empty. In the scheme of things, New York, like Central Park, there's 1,000 people in one spot. You know, having lunch. You know, everybody's on lunch break in New York. But you know, Central Park. But here, you literally, what do you hear? You hear the highway in the distance. You hear the cars in the distance.
That's it.
That's it. You get nothing else.
For more information regarding any content from our show, please visit our website, CaseyMaloneShow.com. Your comments and ideas are appreciated. The Casey Malone Show is sponsored in part by Denise and John York and the DeBartolo Corporation.